Doreen is here.
Yep,
Great.
I'm just setting her up for when
Thank
we move to close. So John, just a
you.
reminder that you will have to wait roughly 60 seconds once we do the motion to go into closed, so that everybody can be moved into the side room in the virtual meeting, okay?
Okay.
Yep. I'm just
But-
setting her up for when we move to close. So John, just a reminder that you will have to wait roughly 60 seconds once we do the motion to go into closed, so that everybody can be moved into the side room in the virtual meeting, okay?
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, I have so many devices in front of me that they're all going off at once. Okay. Okay, Mr. Chair. when
Okay.
you're ready.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the April 29, 2025 meeting of the North Grenville Council. I'm going to be chairing the meeting until the Mayor Peckford, is able to join us. Before we begin, I'm going to read the land acknowledgement. The municipality of North Grenville acknowledges that the municipality operates on the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Anishinaabe. We honor the historic relationship of the Haudenosaunee and the Huron-Wendat peoples to this land. We recognize all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who now call North Grenville their home. We respect and support the need for cultivating a strong relationship with all Indigenous peoples, and we look forward to continuing this conversation and fostering the path towards reconciliation. So before we formally start the meeting, I've got a couple of announcements prepared by staff. First of all, our Sports Dome funding application. As many should know by now, the municipality has applied for approximately $8 million in provincial funding to support the construction of the North Grenville Sports Dome at Kemptville campus. This facility will be providing year-round recreational opportunities for the residents of all ages and abilities. Competition for this fund is fierce, and we encourage anyone who's interested in the success of this project to voice their support with a letter or a public statement. The municipal website has more information about how you can help, so please lend a hand and hopefully we can secure that dome. The Sustainability Fair, I was lucky enough to attend the beginning of the 17th annual North Grenville Sustainability Fair and EV show last Sunday. It was held at the Municipal Center. This event brought together residents, businesses, and community groups committed to building a more sustainable future. The fair showcased environmentally friendly options for everyone, as well as the creativity and commitment of our community. A big thank you to all the organizers, volunteers, exhibitors, and attendees who made the day a success. I was not able to stay for the whole fair, but it was certainly worthwhile. Bulk items and leaf and yard waste. Sorry. This is the last chance to have your bulky items picked up curbside until fall. So tags are required. You can visit the garbage, recycling, and organics tab on the website for bulky item sizing and details. So the week of May 5th to 9th is bulky item collection week, and May 12th to 16th is leaf and yard waste collection. The Kemptville Farmers Market opening day is coming up. That's May 11th from 12 to 4. And this is the opportunity for you to pick up the perfect Mother's Day gift. Bring your mom to the market at the B&H parking lot, 200 Sanders Street, for the kickoff to the 18th market season. That's a very important feature, a great place to meet your neighbors and pick up some fresh produce. Kemptville Busker Fest. Looking ahead to May 17th, we are eagerly anticipating the return of Busker Fest for 2025. This will be a fun, family-friendly, day-long event filled with street performances, music, and creative expression in our downtown core. This year, there is also a kickoff party on the evening of Friday, May 16th at the Curling Club. More information is online, including a full listing of events and entertainers on the Busker Fest website. Okay, so that's it. Lots going on in North Granville as usual. First, we're going to start off with the adoption of the agenda. Hopefully has council had a chance to review the agenda? We've got a lot to deal with this evening. One of the things that we'll be dealing with under deputations is a deputation regarding the new dock construction in Curry Park. And the clerk has suggested that possibly we can move an agenda item up that is relevant to that delegation, and that would be item J4, which is the contract award for the Curry Park accessible dock. So if council is agreeable, I'm going to suggest that one amendment to the agenda before we go into closed. Any comments or questions about that suggestion? J4, again, you'll find on the last page of our draft agenda. It involves the awarding of a recommendation. Any questions about that? No?
I would,
Yep. Wait,
sorry,
sorry.
I was just gonna say, I would move the amended agenda
Okay, thank you.
for the
And a
adoption.
seconder? A seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Strackyan. Any discussion finally before I call the vote? No? Okay, calling the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Thank you. And now, before we attend to the matters, the public matters, we're going to go into closed and read the recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of North Grenville move into a closed session at 6:10 p.m. in accordance with subsection 2239-2, paragraph B of the Municipal Act of 2001, which states a meeting or part of a meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered is personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal or local boards, specifically in this case as it relates to consideration of a request from the Integrity Commissioner to delegate a matter. So I'm looking for someone to move us going into closed.
I'll move.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Whistler. And a seconder?
I will.
I'll second.
Councillor O'Sullivan, great. Any discussion on this particular motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Aye.
Okay,
Hey, hang tight. I'm moving those to the closed session.
okay, thank you.
And video. There we are. Right down there. There we are in the corner.
Flip
see?
it. I
Oh,
can
yeah.
flip it really quick.
Oh, you.
In closed session, that's all
Yeah.
it's saying. So it has
Perfect.
breakout rooms, whatever. that is.
Perfect. Make sure you interrupt her because she'll lose her place. Thank you, guys, for this so
No, but they're
much.
totally mindless. If they are questions, they're
I know.
totally mindless.
Yeah.
And they know less than we do. So
Right.
that's
And
all
Tammy
it's
says,
about.
this is all good news. Like
It
this-
is.
We're giving them money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
we're not asking for anything but to give them money. Like, why would they say
Exactly. What are
something?
they gonna
Okay.
say?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we don't
Yeah.
want.
Yes. Oh, but there could be political things
Yeah,
that go with
exactly.
that, right? If they
Yeah.
take our money, then they'd have to. take
Hi,
some-
Bruce.
Hi, it's actually Kathy and Nancy.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
It's Greg. I'm being excluded from the closed session as well, but.
Oh.
So the meeting started, then they went off to
Let me
close.
make this bigger view.
Oh, there was something that said full screen. Go back in there
Turn up volume.
and there's full screen.
Okay. Where's the
How
volume?
about,
Oh, right
how about
down
in here?
there. Okay. Don't let me run the mouse. Full screen.
Are you okay?
I don't know that I can get this.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
No, but it's not moving, buddy. You come get the volume button. Greg Lane. Because it says Bruce is in the session.
Yeah, because it's my PC.
Oh, so are you guys at the council meeting? Is that what you're,
That's what we're aiming.
Hi.
Hi there.
sorry.
Now we're here.
Now we can hear you.
okay,
Well, okay.
Hi,
how
Greg.
are you? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not bad.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
supposed to be, I've been given 10 minutes to present on the mayor's task force on clean technology, so I'm not sure when that's
Okay.
gonna happen, but
Awesome. Well, they said they're going to do a closed session until 6:30,
okay.
and then they'll tell us when we're assigned to do whatever.
Well, I have a hard stop around 7.
Oh, so you want to go
Exactly,
hard stop? Yeah.
or a puck stop, I'm not sure which, but something's that.
Well, it'll be on in my house too, but currently we're obviously at Bruce's. Yeah, congregated.
Oh, this is not the council. This is a dummy session, isn't it?
This is a breakout
A
room.
breakout
Yeah.
room.
God bless. Just make sure whatever wine you drink has a cork in it. That's all. Everything-
That's a lovely picture, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be, so it could be a while before they let us in.
Oh, yeah. With
For
that
sure.
lot, it could be 7:30.
Well, it better
do
not
that.
be.
Well,
That's
pick
good.
up
They
a
can't
hand.
hear it, Ken.
we can put a couple hands of bridge or something here.
Online bridge, that could be interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
There are more people in our room. They must have us muted.
Well, there's only 3 groups,
Okay,
Yeah, 3.
3 tonight.
that's good.
They said usually they cut it at 2, but something had, I guess there were a lot of applicants or something.
Okay.
Or reasons,
Applicants. donors?
reasons.
I don't know.
Petitions.
Supplicants, I think is the right word. but I'm
Is the
not-
right word?
Is that
There
the
you
right
go.
word? Okay.
I'm not up on the words of politics and municipalities. So the vote is done.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, so we have a new prime minister. Well, yeah, is he? Yeah, I suppose he's
Same
not
party.
new, is he?
No, well,
He's not new.
Wasn't he the
he's-
prime minister last week?
yeah,
Yes, you're right, Kathy.
he's acting, it's true.
He's an interesting guy. I spent a bit of time with him. a few
Did
times.
you?
Yeah,
That's cool.
when he was chair of the bank, he was on a committee of chairs for all the other, or not all, but a number of the other international banks.
Okay.
And he used to fly to Geneva, or I'm not sure where, but I think.
So everyone, I just wanted to remind you that this
Oh.
portion of the meeting is currently being live streamed.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Thank
All
you.
right. I won't say anything rude. Thanks, Center. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
He used technology instead of flying to all the meetings, he used technology that I provided or we provided to the bank. So
Cool.
He's certainly a smart cookie, or he comes across as one, doesn't he?
yep.
We're all quiet now.
Now we have to behave.
Now we have to be.
Yeah, no, I'm suppressing myself, Bruce, which you know is difficult for me, but
Oh, I don't believe that. But can you imagine him in a conversation with Donald?
Apparently that's his next step.
chalk and cheese.
Oh, exactly. That's what I was trying to imagine him trying to control
Not
himself
yet.
from
Yeah.
climbing across the table with a large mallet in his hand.
Or laughing
No, that-
uncontrollably.
Yeah, that might do better.
Oh, well. The world needs to deal with it, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess,
Donald.
yeah, you have no choice.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
He is who he is. Nice shirt.
Bruce said I could wear it.
Okay.
I
it
got
looks
my,
good.
I got my
It looks
Rotary one
good.
underneath in case I had to. you
Well,
know,
I
do a
have
quick
a
change.
Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat shirt on, so always plugging something.
You were missed last night,
Oh,
as always. I actually, no, that came out wrong. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
It was KYC last night.
yeah.
We had a good meeting, good
Yeah,
meeting.
good. I would love to be there, but I just can't.
The new lady is really lovely.
Oh, yes.
Abby, she's young.
Oh,
She
good.
went to Carleton with Sydney. So she's the daughter of the person who runs TSMI, the sports thing,
Okay.
who runs Equinel
Okay.
and two or
Okay.
three other golf clubs.
Oh, okay.
She's really keen to join us at
Okay.
KYC. Good ideas. She's used to running youth camps. That's what she does for TSMI. So she's going to be good. And she's going to give me something for the auction on Radio Day. Are you going to tune in for our Rotary Radio Day?
Was that for me, Bruce? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Nancy will now tell you all about Rotary
No, no,
Radio
no.
Day.
No, just listen to my thingy and you'll
Oh,
hear. about it.
okay.
It's
Your
just
thingy?
my little,
You're
my
very
little-
technical.
my little talk that I have to give.
Okay.
It's very casual when I do it.
The present.
Can't
That's
wait
it.
to see that transcribed in the minutes.
No. Well, yes, except my versions.
Well, you're
More
going to
casual.
live it. Are you talking about that as well?
They told me to present something for 10 minutes. So this is what I
After the
wrote.
doc?
Nope, this. Well, yeah, the doc's this much of it.
Oh, I didn't realize.
The
that.
rest of it is how great Rotary is,
Oh,
which is what Tammy told me to do.
I think you're quite right. Do whatever Tammy tells you. to do.
Exactly.
Tammy can do no wrong.
Oh, things are moving around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go.
That's Greg. Doesn't
Yeah, but there's everybody. There's-
doesn't he look yes. and
Okay, hello, everybody. We're back out of
Well.
closed.
Hello.
And hello, thank you for waiting while we dealt with that matter. And I'm going to need a motion from someone that council resume open session at 6:25.
I'll
Who's gonna
move.
do- Okay,
Deb,
thank you,
I'll
Councillor
second.
Wilson, and seconded by Councillor Stracker-Yan. That we resume open session. Any discussion, first of all? None? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, all right. So
Aye.
we're back and coming out of closed, we're rising with a motion, and I'll ask the clerk or acting clerk to read it for us. so
No
we get it
problem.
right.
So the Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the proposed motion is that council authorize the Integrity Commissioner to delegate their authority in accordance with Section 12 of the Integrity Commissioner retainer as it relates to the specific matter requested by the Integrity Commissioner in writing on April 23rd, 2025.
Great. So I'm looking for someone to move that for me.
I will.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Sullivan, and seconded by Councillor Strachan. I don't think it requires discussion, but if there is any discussion, we can do it now before we vote. No, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Great, okay. So that's it. I skipped over a critical part of the agenda, so I'm going to go backwards here a little bit and ask my council colleagues if they have any declarations of pecuniary interest and to state the general nature of that. Oops, confirm my speaking language. I'm English. Seeing none, we'll move on then to the next section of the agenda, which are deputations. And our first deputation of the evening is on the 2024 Fire Master Plan. And that's by the Lumex Group. Who are they here to present it? Or who's presenting? There we go.
So I'm here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Chief Ursulak. I see you. And I see Chris McDonough, who's from Lumex. Is Terry Gervais with you, Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor and Council, for having us today. So yes, we've been fortunate enough to be awarded the RFP for the Fire Master Plan for North Grenville. So thank you very much for that. So we'll start off with just the introduction part, who we are, and myself, I guess some history on myself as well. So if I go to the next slide, please. Great. Okay, now we'll go to the Lumex slide about the company. So my background is in the fire service. Been for 38 years. Been in a few departments, full-time department, composite departments, and I was a chief for 15 years in the volunteer sector, and still am. I did retire in 21, but I am back in the business, so I can appreciate some of the challenges that are there. I'll get into a bit more about why I feel that North Grenville I can associate with this. I can understand with the growth in the community that I can help out quite a bit with that with this document and the plan going forward. Next slide, please. Keep going. Next one. Sorry. So the project team is made up of a number of people. Terry Gervais is our project advisor. Terry is former chief from Ottawa, sector chief, and then he went to Napanee. And then he started his company with his brother. Myself as a lead. Gary Hines, our financial advisor. Charlene Godfrey is our GIS specialist. So she helps out with a lot of our station location studies and with travel distances and so on for response times. Krista Sayu is our project manager. Krista works on a number of projects, so emergency management, and she also works after all our plans for risk assessments and for fire master plans. And then we have our Q&A team, our quality assurance team. They oversee our documents to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's, make sure that they look presentable for the council and for the chief when it's completed. And anything that needs to be corrected or adjusted, they look after that. Our specialist is myself, Rick Arnell, who's a former chief of Essex, was also the president of the Ontario Fire Chiefs for a period of time. Chris Burke is a retired sector chief from Ottawa. He does a lot of the HR parts, reorgs, and so on for departments. Bill Lormer does fire master plans mostly. He is right now with the Central York Fire. He's a platoon chief there. Grace McDonough, you understand the last name. She is the only person that's not in the fire service, although she's been doing this since 1998. She's done fire safety plans and emergency training for clients all through the GTA. She's done a lot with vulnerable occupancies, nursing homes and hospitals. So she's got a lot of background there. So she's doing a lot of the risk assessments for the community risk assessments. And Jerry Picciatore is former chief of Ottawa. Jerry does a lot of the station location studies with Charlene. Also with Chris Burke, he does a lot of the HR stuff with them. And then Mike Villeneuve is a former chief of Cobourg, who's retired. And Mike does a lot of the fire master plans and risk assessments as well. I'll go to the next slide, please. So the fire master plan is a purpose for development. So we'll get into that in the next slide. If I can get you to go to that one as well, thank you. So the fire master plan is to help the community meet the requirements of the FPPA, the Fire Prevention Act, and other legislation. I've got my own wording for this. So the fire master plan's purpose is to guide the community's fire protection and emergency services delivery over the specific time frame. Usually it's 10 years, but with your growth, I'm thinking 5 to 8 years. By analyzing current services, forecasting future needs, and the development strategies to optimize resources and improve response times. It also serves as a strategic blueprint for addressing local fire risks, managing resources such as administration, operations, budgetary decisions, and ensuring the safety and the well-being of the community. So those are sort of what this plan entails. And it's a live document. So every 5 to 8 years, it would have to be looked at again. And I emphasize again the growth on your community. So just to stop there for a minute. So some of the communities that I've worked in is the town of Jordina, which is north of Toronto. Became a very busy area. Obviously, there was a lot of commuting. It was a bedroom community. We saw a lot of growth there. So I was involved in a lot of the decision making with the fire service there. And then the next big step I took for in a management position was in Port Stanley's, which is south of London, and Central Elgin Fire Rescue was. But the growth in that community is sort of, I can relate to with what's going on in North Grenville. We had a lot of high density housing going on when I was just as I was leaving. And I was sort of involved in if I can say, in the ground up from making decisions on how we were going to accommodate the level of service for the fire service. So we had to build a new fire station there. We had to get some additional equipment to accommodate that. And plus our staffing levels had to change it to accommodate the level of service. With that, as you can appreciate as council, is people moving in from the bigger centers expect that level of service to comparable to where they were in the bigger centers. So it can be a challenge. So that's how I can relate to that with you people. So go to the next slide, please. So our approach and methodology is a startup meeting, which we did back in the beginning of May. I met with the Chief Erzlek and with the CAO, Ms. Dunlop. We talked about the challenges and how we were going to go about the plan, how we were going to meet the requirements for the document. The stakeholder engagement, we are going to start that starting on the 15th of next month. So we will meet with the chief, discuss things again with him, and then with senior management team there, and as well when we have the meetings with the firefighters to see what their thoughts are, where things should go, and then we collect that data, and then we do a draft of a final report. Next slide, please. So the content that goes into this, these are the areas that we review. Your demographics, which is a big part of this, the overview of the department, the legislation, the standards that you have to comply with, and then the bylaws that are involved with the department, and then the agreements, automatic aid, mutual aid agreements, or any other kind of things that need to be involved with that, with Red Cross or whoever it is, the surrounding communities and partners. Recruitment and retention, we look at that as well. As you know, it's more difficult these days to get people to retain them in the department, to get them during the daytime hours. And then departmental communication, we talk about that within the department, how they communicate, you know, are they satisfied with that? The emergency management is a big piece these days, especially with, well, today, as a matter of fact, is one of the days that we've had all the active events going out around the province. So we've had the storms going on. So that's a big piece that we look at. The prevention, public education, we look at that. We've got a posting out now because you've had a promotion, which is great. And then we look at the level of service, you know, where we look at where the station locations are. Is there there's understanding right now, there's a shared facility that maybe we should have a building for the fire service itself. Maybe that will draw more people into that area. We will look at all of that, what the best location is for that. Training, we look at all the training records and what policies are in place for the training. Response times, as I say, that our GIS will look at that, our response times, and what we call as shoot times from the time that the call comes in to the time that they get to the incident. And again, fire station location. We know that we're focusing on the one location right now, and to see what the best options are for that. And then we look at the water supplies, what's available to the community for water, and where the development's going to be, where if there is any subdivisions or density housing, where that has to go. And then we look at asset management, the equipment itself. That's pretty much rounds that. Go to the next slide, please. So the three lines of defense. So this, back in 1998, there was the fire marshal, Bernie Moyle. He had a real different view on how things should happen. So suppression always came first. And there was a real turn back then that Mr. Moyle, he suggested that public education needed to be first, code enforcement needs to be next, and suppression should be last. And the reason for this is because it's obviously to save lives is the most important thing, but it's going to reduce the need for the suppression activities. So that's been growing ever since. It's gotten, you know, it's normal now. It's just like working smoke alarms. It's just something that we have to keep promoting and making sure that those things are looked after. And next slide, please. So the stakeholders that we include in this is the councillors, yourselves, municipal staff, and the fire department staff, possibly the residents and businesses in the community, and especially, you know, municipal partners. It depends how council wants to set up, if they want a committee in place, or if they wanted just surveys to go out to the residents or the businesses or municipal partners. But definitely we talk to the council and municipal staff and the fire department staff to make sure that we got to have a good picture of where things should be and where it's going to look in the future for the department. The next slide, please. So the project goals is we identify and evaluate the current and anticipated fire protection needs of the community, North Grenville, and assess the fire protection services that North Grenville currently receives or delivers, and then provide strategies and identify resources that North Grenville can maybe use to manage the current or anticipated fire protection needs adequately, cost effectively. And obviously with the growth, this is something that's going to have to be looked at. I know I keep going back to the growth because you are the largest growing municipality in Eastern Ontario right now, as I read, so 9% is pretty high. So and then we'll provide you know, recommendations to enhance the level of service in North Grenville. Next slide, please. Any questions or comments?
I'm sure there will be. Thanks, Chris. Before it's a great short overview of what we'd be getting into with the master plan. And I refer to it as the 2024 master plan, but it's this year's master plan, 2025. Before I get to my questions, I'll open it up to Councillor Stracher-Yan and anyone else who has some questions. Go ahead, Councillor Stracher-Yan.
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation, Chris. I think the only piece that I have missed in all of this is the timeline that for the scheduling of these various events, whether it's the stakeholder engagement or the completion of the work as a whole. If you could perhaps add some detail to that, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely, Councillor. So we are looking at a deadline of September, but I think we'll be done before that. As I said, we're starting the engagements on the 15th. So I expect that we should have a draft document probably by late July, early August at the latest. That's my goal. And don't hold me to that unless something happens, but that's usually, we've received a lot of documentation from the chief's office already, so we're well on our way. So we're quite pleased with that. So we're expecting that maybe the only thing will be is again the stakeholder meetings. We'll have to set some dates for those, and then well, it'll depend on council's decision how involved they want to be in the process. That way.
I'm sure we'll want to get our sticky fingers on it somehow, Chris.
Sure. I love that. Great.
Any other questions from the rest of council before I ask mine? Councilor Wilson? No. Okay. Yeah. Chris, so you mentioned part of your experience and background is in Port Stanley, which you characterize them as building high density housing. So my question is, as far as the consultation goes, will you be consulting with the development community? These are the builders that are building currently subdivisions where I guess compared to the kinds of builds that we've had historically are rather much more dense than
probably. Well, looking at your strategic plan and then the planning, I saw some of the recommendations for housing. I would probably talk to your buildings department and your planning department and see. That would be my avenue to go with, and just to see what is proposed, and then and go with that, and then we decide then on talking with the chief, and then the level of service, because I noticed that the call volume from 22 to 23 is up 79%. So it was like, that's huge. I think it was 340 and went up to 428 in 23. So that's big. So with more housing comes with more service. I mean, that's, you people know that better than I do. I mean, you're expecting some other growth and maybe possibly at a provincial level as well coming into the community, right? So
right.
Certainly things.
Yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Nope. It's okay.
Did you finish? Yeah. So in the scope of work, there's just consultation with stakeholders. So I guess from what I'm hearing, you have a lot of confidence in the Ontario Building Code as far as the way these houses are being built, and I'm sure the building department is totally on top of that. But I think conversation with developers in terms of what they can do to further enhance fire suppression or fire prevention, I think it would be good to hear from them or talk to them. I had a final question, and that is, what sort of things, when you say requirements, you've got this experience and you characterize this as a fast-growing municipality, and that we should be looking at a fire master plan of 5 years rather than 10 years, because every year we seem to be in a different situation in terms of our population. What kind of requirements would you recommend or typically, like when you worked with Port Stanley? I guess what I'm trying to do is dig a little deeper in terms of what your recommendations might be. What kinds of recommendations would you be making?
Absolutely. It's a great question, actually. So my experience in I could say in Georgina. So when I came to that from the city of Toronto up to Georgina, it was a small department, composite department, but what they were finding already is the fact that they were having to have additional staffing and then during the day to accommodate the call volume. So it grew from that. So people operating the station on the daytime hours, and then the volunteer service would run the department in the evening hours and on weekends. That was the beginning stage. Then there was the big leap once they got into population of 38 to 40,000. Then they were starting to have to look at a 24-hour service. I mean, people stationed at the hall. So those are the progressions that you have to look at as you grow. That possibly that if the daytime hours, the volunteer staffing is not there, that maybe they might have to have people operating the station on call during the day in the hall. So you'd have to hire full-time staff during the day. So those are things that possibly we have to look at.
So primarily staffing needs and possibly facilities as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I don't think your community is going to expand at all. It's going to stay that size, but it's where your call volume is, where it's most in demand. I'm assuming it's in Kemptville. That would be the area that we would maybe focus on to look at in the future of staffing.
And there'll be some consideration about the rural nature of this municipality, where
100%.
70% of the population live.
Yeah. So what would happen there is that the full-time staff would be assigned to go out to check the stations, to check the equipment during the day, make sure everything's okay and it's working properly. And they would be available to run calls in the rural communities as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Mayor Peckford has joined us and her hand is up, and I'll let her ask a question before I turn the chair over to her. Go ahead, Mayor Peckford.
Thank you. And thank you, Deputy Mayor, for chairing the beginnings of the meeting. And I'm okay for you to continue until we get to our next delegation. So please carry on with your good work. My only question was, I know obviously we've had other master plans up to now. So you're building on previous analyses. Certainly, I think moving forward, I think council and the community would appreciate the good work that we've done, right, in equipping the community for the kind of growth we've seen up to now, so that they understand that it's not the first fire master plan we're doing. There have been considerable investments in the infrastructure to support our fire, our fire volunteers, and to support all the equipment that's required to respond and to ensure there's a robust fire prevention program. So I'm just hopeful that obviously, as you go through that period of consultation, that you're able to highlight where we have obviously made significant investments. We have a strong foundation. Of course, to your point, our growth moving forward is perhaps a little more rapid than we expected, but that's not unusual for Eastern Ontario, just given the outcomes of the pandemic. So I think that's just it's a crucial piece of the communications exercise, so people understand we're obviously not starting from scratch, but we really look forward to what you have to say, and to the conversations with the community. And of course, that would include builders as much as anyone else.
Absolutely, Mayor Peckford. Yes, no, we're definitely North Grenville's on the right track. There's no question about that. And I did look through the other document. I guess I wanted to get a short period of time to sort of explain what we're going to do going forward. But we'll definitely be looking at the previous documents for sure. Yeah.
Can I just, with your indulgence, Chair,
Sure.
if I could just also, I know that this conversation around full-time firefighters, or a certain percentage of full-time firefighters, always sort of emerges in these moments. So I think for council and the community, it would be also helpful to sort of highlight that tipping point. Obviously, as you're likely aware, council made some efforts to provide a better compensation structure with the assistance of the chief and deputy chief to ensure that we were recognizing the kind of time and sacrifice people make to be part of a volunteer fire service. So, certainly having more insight into what that tipping point is will also clearly be a benefit as we go through this exercise together.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we will do that.
Great.
Good.
Okay. Any other, have you finished, Mayor Peckford, with your question? Sorry, jumped in there.
All good.
I'm trying to move the agenda forward like you would. If there's no other questions, I'll read the recommendation and look for a mover, but thank you, Mr. McDonald, for your presentation. I don't see any other hands up. So the recommendation is, be it resolved that council accept the 2025 Fire Master Plan Project Overview presentation presented by the Lumex Group. I need a mover for that, please. Someone? Councillor Strachian, thank you. And a seconder.
Deb.
Yep, thank you, Councillor Wilson. Where is Councillor O'Sullivan? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry, I missed you. All right, any discussion on that recommendation? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And to your trusty hands, I pass the torch. Madam Mayor, you can take us into the next presentation, deputation. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I will take my hand down. I am managing a couple of screens here, so appreciate your indulgence, and thank you, Deputy Mayor, once again. So I believe next, colleagues, we're moving on. If I haven't missed an adjustment to the agenda, H.2, new dock construction at Curry Park, or did we move that, Deputy Mayor?
No, we're going to that next, but it's going to be followed by J4, which
Okay.
is the
recommendation.
Yeah, the recommendation. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And with that, I understand that we have individuals here to present from the Rotary Club. There you are. Okay. Excellent. So thank you for your patience, colleagues. And I will invite, I think, Kathy and Nancy to make a short presentation.
Hey, thank you very much for inviting us to speak to you tonight. Good evening, Madame Mayor and council members. Nancy and I are before you representing the Rotary Club of Kemptville. The Rotary Club of Kemptville just celebrated its 90th year of service in this community, 90 years of working to improve the quality of life locally as well as globally. In Kemptville, our club has a history of strong support for youth. Over these 90 years, we have sent and received many youth on short-term exchanges to broaden their horizons and open their eyes to the world outside of Eastern Ontario. We have also helped to create our next leaders by sponsoring youth with an award to attend the District Rotary Youth Leadership Camp, or RYLA. We have acknowledged and celebrated those with physical challenges by promoting campers and their staff with an annual dinner at the Easter Seals Camp Marywood. A significant part of our heritage at Rotary is to support graduating students at all of the Kemptville high schools with our bursaries. Additionally, we support the North Grenville District High School Science Fair and feed the hardworking judges. Rotary supports Kemptville Youth Center to fundraise for their operating costs at their annual book fair and golf tournament. We also collaborate with KYC on many community fundraising activities such as Maple Fest Weekend. And together, we organize and judge a Young Writers Contest with prize money from the Egg Farmers of Ontario. Rotary has also collaborated with the municipality for years to organize and run my very favorite Rotary activity of the year, the Santa Claus Parade and Food Drive. But this club is not only supporting our youth. For example, in 2001, in partnership with the municipality, we founded the North Grenville Rotary Millennium Park in Old Town Kemptville, which is both a destination and a resting spot for the young and old alike. Much more recently, in 2024, we gave a sizable donation to Shalom Small Homes. Coming up very soon is a new endeavor for our Rotary Club, one which I'm sure you all know all about, Rotary Radio Day. We are taking over Moose FM on May the 10th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Rotary members will be live and on the air, providing news, weather, music, and interviews with local celebrities. More importantly, we are providing tailored paid advertisements and a large, very large number of auction items donated by our generous local businesses. We will have a bit of help from Moose FM, but it is mostly us. So it should be a bit crazy and a lot of fun while raising funds for Shalom Small Homes and our own local projects. Be sure to listen in around 9 a.m. when Mayor Peckford will be presiding over the microphone, but as well, you should need to listen all day. To mark our 90th anniversary, we wish to take on a legacy project for the whole community. We brainstormed on our own and then met with municipal staff to discuss our ideas and seek their advice about the needs and wishes in our community. Many thoughts, many ideas were considered. The municipality's plan to invest in Curry Park with the addition of a new dock aligns with our principle to improve the quality of life for our community. It provides more space for paddlers and boaters, wheelchair accessibility to this beautiful space, and extends the area to allow anglers some calm from the splashes of feet, paddles, and motors. This project caught our attention. In the spirit of Rotary's 90 years of service to North Grenville, we are offering $32,000 toward the construction and installation of the multi-use accessible dock at Curry Park. It is Rotary's genuine hope that many generations will enjoy this investment in our thriving and active community. Thank you for your time and attention.
And now if you have any questions.
questions?
Yeah.
Okay, colleagues, you've received the presentation. Any questions at this stage? I'm not seeing any hands. Please speak up. Deputy Mayor, were you about to say
Thank
something?
you.
Or Councillor Sullivan?
I'm looking for how to raise my hand here.
It's
I've
okay.
forgotten all about
You can jump in.
But
It's
yeah,
all good.
okay. Wonderful contribution. I can't thank you enough, and it's very appropriate. Soon we'll have to name everything along the waterway Rotary something or
That's the
other.
goal. Yeah.
Rotary dock. But what did you have in mind in terms of recognition? I mean, I think we could probably do you proud, but we need some direction.
We're not looking for big. We're just looking for a sign that, of course, states that, Rotary has put this money forward. The money originally came as a bequest from one of our older Rotarians. So we don't need he's already got his name on a sign here, but yeah, and we would like to just be it known that Rotary contributed to the building of the dock.
On the occasion of your 90th anniversary.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure you can work that out with Director Guy in Parks, Rec, and Culture. And thank you very much. That was my only question about how we could properly recognize it. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very generous, and certainly we know that the dock at behind Salamanders at Rotary Park has been so well received. And I was at a gas station several months ago, and a resident stopped me while I was filling my car up. He didn't live here, but his parents did, and he wanted to let us know how much that accessible, versatile dock meant to him and his family, his extended family. So it really highlighted to me what it means when you can create those accessible facilities and allow as many people as possible to enjoy the South Branch or the Kemple Creek, however you may wish to call it. So we really appreciate your thoughtfulness. It's wonderful, and I'm sure Mr. Guy will work with Rotary so that they are properly recognized for that donation.
Thank you. It's
Thank
our
you.
pleasure.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to look for a motion. I'm just looking. There's a fairly long recommendation, so I'll read it now, colleagues. Whereas to mark their 90th anniversary, the Rotary Club of Kemple developed several project ideas to improve the quality of life for community members to facilitate enjoyment of Curry Park in a manner that can be done safely. Whereas the municipality of North Grenville has planned and budgeted for a multi-use accessible dock at Curry Park as part of its 2025 budget, whereas this initiative aligns with the Kemple Rotary Club's commitment to the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council accept a one-time monetary contribution of $32,000, very generous, from the Rotary Club of Kemple for the purpose of purchasing and installing the multi-use accessible dock at Curry Park. The council acknowledge that this contribution is limited to a one-time occurrence and does not include the ongoing maintenance or storage of the Curry Park dock, and that council directs staff to execute an agreement with the Rotary Club of Kemple for this purpose, which addresses the aforementioned parameters and sets out recognition of the contribution to include mutually agreed upon signage at the site, a media release, and a ribbon cutting ceremony. So staff have anticipated all of the potential promotional opportunities here, so that's very kind. So I'll look for a mover and a seconder.
I will.
Councillor Wilson and Councillor Sullivan, thank you. Any final questions or comments, colleagues? Not seeing any. I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Thank you. That carries. Wonderful. Thank you again for coming and presenting to us and really thinking of the community and their enjoyment of the waterfront. It's really deeply appreciated.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And maybe, thank you. And maybe just before we move on, Mr. Guy, can you remind us when would we expect the installation of the dock at Curry Park?
Thank you for the question, Madam Mayor. And certainly on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Department, we certainly appreciate the generous contribution from the Rotary Club in helping us make this project come to fruition. So thank you so much.
And maybe before you go on, I think we're going to move to J4, which is where you would present the contract award. So why don't we move to your presentation now, and then we can consider that recommendation.
Sounds good. So I am here tonight to present a report on the awarding of the tender for the Curry Park accessible dock, floating dock. So it was identified, a new accessible water dock at Curry Park was identified as part of the waterfront access strategy that was undertaken in 2024. It will provide access for the water for kayakers and canoers, along with boaters, as per usual. The dock is scheduled to be installed by the Victoria May long weekend. And the tender award, there was 2 submissions, one from Keyhill Marine Construction and one from Waterside Dock Systems. The new dock is approximately 375 square feet. There will be tie-ups for boats, and as you can see in the picture, that will allow for kayak and canoe access to the water. The current dock that we had previously at Curry Park was about 168 square feet, so it's a quite a bit difference in size of dock, and obviously it's accessible, which the other one was not. So the recommendation is to award the purchase and installation to Waterside Dock Systems for this project. And I believe that is the end of the report. I will mention with respect to the current dock, we have reached out to the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority about the opportunity to place that dock somewhere else along the Kempful Creek that would still allow for individuals who might want to fish at the creek, or might want to just take a lawn chair and have a leisurely sit on a nice afternoon. So we have been working with them. When we did the Waterfront Trail project in 2017, SEMA Canada did the design, and they had identified a couple of other potential viewing locations along Curry Park. So we are working with Rideau Valley. There is a permit that we'll have to, in an application form that we'll have to fill out. But the sense we're getting from RVCA is that there won't be an issue. So we will look to repurpose that current dock, not so much for boats to get in the water, or even canoes or kayaks, but more of a viewing platform, or for somebody who would like to fish. So that is happening with the current dock.
Excellent. Well, your presentation has inspired some questions, as you can see. So I will go Deputy Mayor, Councillor Wilson, Councillor Starkey. Yeah, that's the order on my screen. So Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to Director Guy. I would be remiss if I didn't advocate for Oxford Mills. And I know it was a secondary goal of the waterfront access. It wasn't the highest priority in terms of access to the water, with a dock, but it's been a long-standing wish of the community to have something above the dam at the end of the easement that off of Beach Road. And I know Mark Nadeau has been a tireless advocate for it, and was disappointed to see that it wasn't a priority with the waterfront access strategy. But I wondered if that's a consideration or are you strictly looking at another access point at Curry Park? That's my question.
Mr.
Through
Guy?
you, Madam Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Barkley. We didn't really consider any other options. We were aware of the report, as I mentioned in my report. We were aware of the waterfront trail and the other two areas along Curry Park that were potential for this. As I recall, the beach road, I don't think the current dock that we have would suit that location, Deputy Mayor, just in terms of, if I recall, I was at the site a couple of times back when the Oxford Mills Community Association was looking at, and I believe there would be quite a length of dock required to get out far enough into the water. And I'm pretty sure this current dock we have would not. That wouldn't be it. It wouldn't be able to do it. I know it is part of the waterfront access strategy that was developed, so I'm sure Matt Gilmer's team, whether their plan is to come forward with an update and how they plan to proceed with some of the recommendations on that particular plan.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Wilson and then Councillor Strakian.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Peckford, to Director Guy. So the winter storage for this dock, will it be done at the site along the shore, or what would be the future plan for that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Wilson. From what I understand through our facility superintendent, the plan is to store this dock at the site where the current dock was always stored, and that is, I believe, the tentative plan for the downtown dock is to somehow get there as well.
Okay, that was going to be my next question.
We can follow up on that and get more clarity, but I know that they're working on that. That is the initial idea right now.
So is this dock similar in construction to the downtown dock? I'm not
Very
sure.
similar.
Very similar.
Pretty much the same. Waterside Dock Systems were the same company that installed one at Rotary.
Okay, and then looking at the photo, it looks like it goes out into the water and kind of wraps to the right-hand side. So that is the shoreline going to have to be reconstructed a little bit to have boats released?
I'm not sure on that. To my knowledge, no. It shouldn't. There shouldn't have to be any work done to the shoreline. There'll be a little work to be done getting into the accessible platform, but not, not along the shoreline, to my knowledge.
So where those handles are and the gray piece, that's where the dock is connecting to the shoreline.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Good. Thank you.
Councillor Strakian?
No questions, Madam Mayor, third in line, and Councillor Wilson got the question before I had the chance, so it's already been answered. Thank you.
Be sure to flip you to the top of the list for the next one. Sometimes I mix up whose name I have on the list, so I was just going by the order on the screen. My only question, Mr. Guy, was in the two different submissions. One was, I think, 17,000 more than the other one. Was there any notable difference between the two proposals, or they sort of have the same features in terms of what you were looking for?
They certainly had the same features. It really just came down to price and having the knowledge of working with this company already. We felt fairly confident that the lowest bid was the proper bid to accept.
Right. So with that, colleagues, I think I'm going to take you to the recommendation then, and this is in regards to J4. And of course, for your consideration, is that council accept the recommendations to award project PRC 2513, Curry Park Accessible Floating Dock to Waterside Dock Systems. Can I look for a Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Wilson and Deputy Mayor, thank you. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Thank you. Perfect. All right. So with that, I think we're going back up, colleagues, and we are now going to consider, Ms. Rumming, correct me if I'm wrong, the interim report from the Mayor's Task Force on Clean Technology. Do I have that right? I see the presentation coming up. I do believe we have colleagues here this evening. So I see Mr. Greg Lane has been quite involved. Are you solo this evening, Mr. Lane?
Yes, I am. As far as I understand, the storm might have wiped out Nadia's connections.
Okay, so another member of the task force, Nadia Diakon-Tiber, was going to join you for this presentation, but it looks like she may have had some technological challenges. Yeah. So over to you, Mr. Lane. And of course, you are one of several members from the community who are part of our clean tech task force.
Yes, so thank you for the opportunity to chat. And maybe just a piece of background, because there's a pretty, I think, extensive deck, and I won't go through it all, but this task force evolved out of the CDAC working group when a number of the members wanted to be more involved and engaged in trying to stimulate and get involved in bringing more business and commercial enterprises into the community. So that's where it started. So I'm going to go through really quickly. So the next slide, mandate. Hopefully you've all seen this, but effectively that's just confirming that we're trying to bring a broad range of capabilities into the community, focusing on clean tech or clean technologies and nature-based solutions. Next. Now, I'm not sure why we put this slide in twice, but it's in here twice. But just to give you a sense for how a lot of the discussions have moved in our task force, we've gone through this list of activities. So again, not going to drill it. You've got a copy, and I'll take questions at the end. But we've done a pretty extensive job of figuring out what's going on out there. Next slide. So again, one of the conversations that we had was there's a lot of different discussions around what green tech, green technology, and nature-based solutions are. Those of you that know Nadia would know that she's very concerned with making sure that the terms that are used correctly. So for reference, these are the way we are describing the different types of things we're involved in. So I won't, again, spend a lot of time on it. Next. So we, as I said before in the mandate, looked at a whole bunch of different things. So part of it was research, part of it was going out and engaging with individuals out there who are doing similar stuff and collecting a lot of information. I'll keep going. So because the next slide is the one I think, hopefully there's no vegetarians out there, because this is the meat of the presentation. So if you have any issues, my apologies. So net, we wanted to confirm the rationale and make sure it's something that makes sense for council and staff. We wanted to talk about strategies, and we also wanted to have a little discussion around partnerships and benefits. So again, I'll just really quickly go through these. So we have a view that our geographic location is an advantage, and we should be leveraging that. We have interesting and lots of different assets in the community. We want to take advantage of those. We want to enhance innovation ecosystem. So big words. Effectively, what we're trying to do is startups that are working in the green tech space, we want to attract them into our community and have them start their businesses here and grow and show what can be done with new technology in the agri and clean tech space. That's how we attract and hopefully retain some of these people. We also wanted to get some economic diversification. So as I mentioned, this came out of CDAC, and we believe that one of the ways to get more businesses here is to attract them through showing them how they can use the assets we've got to start up their businesses. So these different strategies are the thing that I think we would love to hear some feedback on, or we would love to hear some feedback. We have decided what our niche strengths are. We think a liaison office would be really helpful. Well, there's a number of different organizations and entities out there that are starting to reach out and ask questions. And it'd be nice if they went to a central place and there was a standard answer or a standard approach to answering. We want to create or at least support the creation of collaborative research programs. So there's a number of different institutions, Carleton, Algonquin, Ottawa U, and even Kingston-based organizations that are doing research that we think would have real value for us, and we want to bring them potentially into our community and look at ways we can do projects together and potentially even apply for funding. We have access to funding that some of these institutions can't get to, specifically FCM and other government programs that may or may not support their particular programs, but together we have a better possibility of getting funding support. We also have an opportunity for some of these researchers to actually test solutions. Just a case in point, one of the companies we're talking to is a company called Greenvale. They have developed polymers that are biodegradable and or edible. And when we had him in the community talking to some farmers, he talked about instead of using wrap on bales, they could use his wrap and we could just give it to the animals as feed. And the farmer looked at him and said, you know, we leave these bales in the fields, right? If they're wrapped in an edible product, deer, rabbits, mice would all be taking advantage of that. And he went, oh, we never thought about that in the lab. So there's a real opportunity to get research and practical applications working together. One other quick example is Ferguson Tree Nursery has very dated technology for their turbines and for their irrigation systems. The manufacturer is out of business. Nobody knows how to maintain it. So we've reached out to Carleton and Ottawa U, and Ottawa U has come back and said, yes, we could see how that would be a fascinating project for professors and graduate engineering students to come out and figure out how they could maybe replace, update, change, but maintain some of those systems. We want to host academic events and conferences, and we're already working with Community Futures on an event in June. We want to engage more students and have faculty and students involved out here, and we have done that so far with Ferguson Tree Nursery. We've also introduced them to the campus and actually our business community as well. Multi-institutional partnerships. One of the things we're looking at is if we're going to work with other institutions, and I'll use Ottawa U as an example, they already have programs, but sometimes those programs require assets or capabilities or space even that they can't accommodate. And so our conversations with Ottawa U so far has been, rather than turning down a project, why wouldn't they approach us and see if we could collaborate and allow that project to move forward, not necessarily on campus at the University of Ottawa, potentially out here. We believe the benefits the partnership are, we get access to expertise and resources. There's problem solving that hopefully these young students and faculty will be helping us with. Economic development is one of the main drivers, and it may be slow because these are going to be startups, but over time, there's a hope that this economic development can make a real difference in the community. I'm not sure about policy decision-making, but that's one thing that potentially can come out of this, is that if there are even questions around how we could be doing some of these things better, we can get research and students and faculty to look at that as well. The fact that we're going to be involving faculty and universities and others, we believe is going to lead to a lot of people becoming more aware of what we have in Kemptville. And hopefully when they come out here to do some projects, they'll think about this as a place to stay. There are funding opportunities, and we think it is a way, again, to engage the community. So what we've distilled, I guess, out of that is that if we can create an innovation hub potentially on the campus, it will allow us to attract investments, develop these solutions, have challenges, and hopefully improve outcomes, not just for residents, but for everybody writ large. And maybe I'll stop there because after that, there's just more information around the task force itself. And Mayor, I'm sensitive that this is your task force. So Madam Mayor, if I've missed things or you want to add or clarify anything I've said to this point, please weigh in. And Deb, I know you're a part of this group too. So I welcome any kind of suggestions around things I might have missed.
No, so thank you, Mr. Lane. And it is correct that myself and Councillor Wilson, who is co-chair of the Community Economic Development Advisory Committee, sit on the task force. Obviously, it's one of the first, it's the first task force of this nature in North Grenville's history. So we've spent a lot of time finding our feet, assessing the landscape, seeing how we can navigate the future. All of this was motivated through some good work at CDAC, at our Economic Development Advisory Committee, where some members of that committee formed a subcommittee to explore how we could leverage the incredible assets we have in North Grenville to attract new clean tech, green tech businesses, and there's lots of complexity to those definitions, and also amplify the presence of companies in particular that may be here already and are looking to adapt their businesses to achieve better sustainability goals or are already in that space. So I think we've certainly had some good discussion. And I know that we talked a little bit about how we can work with the campus moving forward to advance, I think, some of the strategies that have been identified in the deck today. So I can return to that discussion, but I'll certainly recognize Deputy Mayor and Councillor Wilson first. Deputy Mayor and then Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor.
If I might, I'm going to actually go in reverse order because Councillor Wilson sitting on the task force, I'll defer to her first. Go ahead, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Peckford. I really don't have my hand up, but thank you so much, Greg, for doing the presentation. There is so much more that we've already been diving into, and thanks to the committee and this group that is together. We draw from several different advisory committees. We've got a really diverse group that are keeners. So appreciate everything that's going into this, and Mayor Peckford for you leading the charge also. So just Greg, maybe later after you might want to touch a little bit, and I don't want to steal your thunder, a little bit about the one company we're talking to about the Wollastonite people. So anyways, you got to blow your horn on that one. Okay, thanks.
I'll wait. Thanks.
All right, so we will definitely hear from Deputy Mayor, and then maybe Mr. Lane, you can fill us in a little bit more, and certainly I would like to reflect some of the discussion that was had on Monday with the campus and task force members into a potential recommendation for council to consider this evening, but I'll recognize Deputy Mayor first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you to Mr. Lane. Thank you, Greg, for the presentation, and I know you're ably supported by other members on the task force, in particular Nadia, who was here and then dropped off, unfortunately, and Wayne Brown as well. And Councillor Wilson, suggested that you wanted to toot your own horn, and that's the thrust of my question here. It would be great. This is an interim report. It'd be great in the final report, which I imagine will be happening hopefully before the end of the year, to see some information or some action items around outreach and awareness. I think Mr. Brown yesterday at the task force meeting, remarked that, what are we doing in terms of letting the community know about all the good work that you're doing? And beyond just this community, if you want to create interest in clean tech and in particular, North Grenville as being a place to do clean tech, I think having some sort of marketing or outreach efforts or action items as part of your final report, like some recommendations, this is, we need to either put dollars behind this or resources behind this to try and situate North Grenville as a place that clean tech companies might want to meet, network, find some synergies with other companies, et cetera, et cetera. I think it is the missing piece. It's all great work, but we need to tell people about, the ideas that are being generated in the task force, and we need to, build partnerships with the campus and with local funders like Grenville Community Futures, and reach out to organizations like Sustainable North Grenville, and invite them in, because there's certainly a lot of expertise in that local group that could have added value to your discussions. So outreach, raising awareness, I think is really important, and it would be great to see in the final report some thinking around doing that.
And I apologize. When I was told we had 10 minutes, I was trying to go into voice compression mode rather than getting into all the details. So yes, and as those that were at the meeting yesterday will know, we're working with Katie Nolan and Community Futures on an event, tentatively June 26th, and it's going to be Sustainable Business Summit. And also Katie's developing a new program, Eco Futures, up to 300,000 for startups who are in this space. So yes, we are doing, and as you may recollect, Tom was at our meeting, Tom Graham from Sustainable North Grenville was at the meeting. So I don't think we're doing enough, but we're trying, and we're trying to engage with as many different people as we can. So thank you, and we will definitely make that part of the final.
And certainly, to Mr. Lane's point, we are increasing, now that we've sort of better understood the landscape, both regionally and nationally, leveraging some of our local organizations is key. And as Greg mentioned, Sustainable North Grenville, was it Sustainable? Yes, Sustainable North Grenville was there on Monday, and Community Futures. So I'd just like to reflect to council colleagues another element of the discussion that we had yesterday. Obviously, much of what the task force has identified is opportunities for research, leveraging existing assets, including the campus, which is a very large property, well situated to facilitate some of the research opportunities that Greg has mentioned. Equally, Ferguson Forest certainly is an area where I think there's a lot of potential to promote and leverage synergies. So we did have the benefit of having Ms. Annie Hillis at the campus yesterday, from the Kemptville campus. She's our executive director at the campus. So she came to the task force yesterday, and we had a discussion about potentially exploring the establishment of an innovation hub on the campus as a way to support some of the innovation that's sort of been identified as part of the task force. Ms. Hillis certainly is quite interested on behalf of the campus in jointly going down the path with the municipality of exploring the viability of an innovation hub. So it's one of the things I wanted to bring to council's attention today, is whether or not you'd have the appetite to consider a recommendation coming out of this interim report that the municipality work with Kemptville campus to explore the feasibility, the viability of the establishment of a innovation hub. Certainly, I was reminded yesterday by Mr. Matt Gilmer, our economic development manager, that it is actually one of the recommendations in our economic development strategy, which is newly minted. So all things are sort of pointing in that direction, but I was thinking, as was Annie from the campus yesterday, and Mr. Lane, that if council would have the appetite to formalize through a motion this evening, that the municipality, particularly through Mr. Gilmer's office, who sits with us at the task force, and working in collaboration with Ms. Hillis at the campus, the exploration of the viability of an innovation hub. That would be, I think, a crucial next step in really, I think, concretizing certain opportunities down the road. So I know I can't move that motion, so I'd look to colleagues to see if you'd have that interest. And I see Councillor Wilson's hand up, and Deputy Mayor. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Peckford. I would move it, like to put the motion forward, but with the exception that the municipality, we're currently working on a climate action plan. So would we be moving too far forward too quickly ahead of what the municipality is doing in that aspect by having everyone tied together and kind of get that in place before we move forward with that? Or I don't know, just making that comment.
I certainly can speak to that. I think the innovation
okay.
hub sort of goes beyond clean tech, green tech. The climate action plan for the municipality, as I understand it, is as much internal as it is anything else. An innovation hub, and Ms. Nolan was with us yesterday, Kenny Nolan from Community Futures, and also echoed the sort of role a potential innovation hub could play down the road. So certainly at this stage, I think we would be simply looking at the exploration of a hub, not the establishment of a hub at this stage, but the exploration around how other innovation hubs have worked, what sort of mission and mandate have they fulfilled in other communities, other counties. So I don't think it would be premature, but certainly once the climate action plan was developed, certainly I think there's opportunities for synergies. But given that an innovation hub would take a lot of time to really fully consider and potentially implement, and would require certain, I think, funding from external providers, I think we'd be wise to go down the path now of the exploration, not the establishment, but the exploration. So we have a good understanding of where the opportunities may exist, particularly for funding or the leveraging of other resources that may become available. We know we have a new federal government that's keen, I think, to work towards economic stimulus of all kinds. So there may be unforeseen opportunities to certainly go down the path of an innovation hub, but it will take time. So I would see this simply as an exploratory phase, not preempting a climate action plan by any stretch. I'm going to recognize Deputy Mayor and then Councillor Strachan. Do I have the order right? Okay.
Yeah, works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be prepared to move that council direct economic development staff to explore with Kentville Campus and Grenville Community Futures to explore the feasibility of creating a innovation hub. I'd like to have a better understanding of the definition of an innovation hub, though. Maybe that could be part of their report. It sounds great, but you know, I think we have to sort of have some scope and scale of what we're talking about.
Yeah,
so I'd be prepared to make that motion.
And I just wanted to clarify with Councillor Wilson, were you also intending to move, or would you like to second Deputy Mayor's more formal motion? I just want to be sure I'm respectful of who tried to move first.
No. I would go along with Deputy Mayor Barclay. He has the wording.
Great. Okay, so a motion has been moved and seconded, and maybe Mr. Lane, before I go to Councillor Strachan, is there anything you want to say at this point?
No, we could spend some time talking about Innovation Hub, but the example I would use is Bell Northern Research in Canada. That organization that created almost all of the tech companies in Canada. And it was starting off as a research, like it literally was a research organization. And out of that developed Nortel and a whole bunch of other businesses. So I don't know what the answer to that question is, Deputy Mayor Barclay, but I can tell you that having that kind of focus and having those kinds of people doing the kind of work that they're going to be doing is going to be mind-boggling in terms of the outcomes.
Okay, Councillor Strachan, you've been waiting patiently. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think my comment is generally supportive of the idea of an innovation hub. I mean, I think defining it is part of what needs to be explored at this stage, exactly what the scope is, who's involved, what resources do we have access to, human and physical. So I think that that's the whole crux of it. It sounds like it's already baked into a bit of the priorities of this task force, as well as the plan that you referred to that Mr. Gilmer mentioned. So this motion may be a bit redundant, other than to set this as a higher priority for the ECDEV staff. So long as they've indicated that they have the capacity to take this work on in addition to what they're already working on, then I'm supportive of moving forward with this as well.
Certainly. Okay, so any other comments in regards to the motion that's on the table? I'm not seeing any hands. I'm not missing anyone. I believe, Ms. Roman, you've captured the motion as moved and seconded.
I do believe I have. Would you like me to read it to ensure that council is in
Sure.
agreement? Okay, so what I have documented is that council direct economic development staff to work with Kempville Campus and Community Futures North Grenville to explore the feasibility of an innovation hub.
Certainly. Okay. Does that reflect your intention, Deputy Mayor? I assume so.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
Good. I'll call.
Can I-
Yes, Mr. Lane.
Sorry. So it doesn't talk about the task force or CDAC. So is that okay? Or how do we collaborate or coordinate or participate in that review by Matt and his team? So that's
Yeah,
the
I think we would specify, certainly other stakeholders would be part of the conversation, including, of course, the task force. So I would expect that with Matt's role on the task force, he would be in active conversation as things move along at this stage. We can certainly add a report back to the task force if that's helpful, but I'm confident there will be a fair amount of engagement. I noticed Ms. Dunlop has her hand up, and Councillor Strachan, is that a legacy hand?
It's a new
Okay.
hand when I get to.
Okay, Ms. Dunlop?
Thank you, Your Worship. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes.
The weather is also playing havoc.
It's right.
But what I do agree, I think that we need to get a handle in regards to defining innovation hub. And I do think that the best would be that the economic development staff should report back based on workload and their collaboration with the task force to set up steps and maybe additional resources should they be required in the future.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Councillor Strachan?
Yes, I won't make a comment about the staff. I think we've addressed that. I think there's already the connections there, and the direction is obviously for the staff, but not the advisory committee. So I think that'll be covered off. Do we have any concerns regarding timeline that we would like to have in an initial report come back to us, just given the amount of time left in this current council's mandate? If it doesn't come back to us prior to the next election, the point is moot, because the committees effectively fall by the wayside until the next term of council is brought back up and the committees are reconstituted. So I'm not sure what a reasonable timeline is for this, but perhaps that's something that we would like to, I don't know, put in there so that it at least aligns with this term of council somehow.
Sure. I wonder, Councillor Strachan, if we might be able to say with a report back by the end of this year. So that's 6 to 8 months for some preliminary explorations to take place. Ms. Dunlop, are we good with that?
Yeah, I would think that with the report back by the end of the year, along with an accompanying work plan and maybe an adjustment in regards to ECDEV work plan, would be reasonable for either end of Q3 or the end of the year.
Excellent, thank you. No later than the end of the year then. So great, thanks.
Okay.
Councillor Sullivan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you, Greg, for the presentation and all the work that this committee has been doing with Deb and the mayor and all the members. I think it big picture, it's great, and these big outcomes in terms of having an innovation hub, attracting businesses, all that is really good. I would like to know if there's any way that just being greener and using green policies and technologies, that we could do a little bit more at the municipality to walk the talk and show what we are doing. I think there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, pardon me, that's available for us to improve our green practices. And one thing I learned when I was at the Ontario Good Roads Conference was about using recycled aggregate and having like mini processing on site grinders or machinery and technology used to reuse aggregate on a road building or a bridge building project. If that could be something that would be a policy that would come out, that when there's a request for proposal going out or before a tender is awarded, that we ask the companies, what green technology can you bring to this project? What can you do in terms of being more environmentally conscious? I mean, it has financial implications as well. So I also think that just our own recycling practices in the municipality and in even municipally owned buildings could be improved, and that's low-hanging fruit. Can we make this a little more, just grab the simple things and start with the basics and show what we have accomplished and what we can accomplish?
I'm muted, sorry. Certainly I think that's things that the task force can continue to contemplate and bring back as part of a final report. I certainly don't think I think through the climate action plan, there may be some opportunities also to look at the municipality's operational practices. I know Mr. Lane has also brought to our attention some new innovations and companies that are functioning in this space that offer some products and services that assist with climate mitigation. So I think you'll see these options emerge over time through the engagement of the task force, which is ongoing, and through the development of the climate action plan. So I think at this moment, we hear you, Councillor Sullivan, that these are things that you'd like to see reflected in some of the day-to-day practices. And I think the final report of the task force, as well as the climate action plan, will allow us to capture those better. Deputy Mayor, I see your hand up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And to count, before I get to the reason my hand's up, to Councillor O'Sullivan's idea, I think that if we're going to be promoting clean tech, we should be adopting it. We should be walking the talk. But I respectfully suggest that maybe taking a look, Councillor O'Sullivan, at our procurement policy might be a good place to start, and to find out if there might be a way of incorporating into our procurement policy some of the suggestions you made, asking contractors or people who are awarded projects to identify in what way at all, if at all, they're using more progressive, clean technology. Of course, it would all come down to cost. But the reason I had my hand up is that I'm happy to accept an amendment to my motion to have when staff explores the feasibility of an innovation hub, to come back with a report no later than Q4.
Perfect.
Thanks.
And I believe Councillor Wilson, you'd support that amendment to the motion that's on the floor. Okay, Ms. Reming, I think you've captured that then. Perfect. Okay. So if you don't mind, colleagues, we're still on the delegation portion of our meeting. So I'd like to call the vote. Thank you, Mr. Lane, for coming. And I know Nadia, as mentioned, has been a huge part of the committee and contributed significantly to this, the development of this interim report. So we'd like to thank her in particular and all members of the committee who have boldly forged ahead with us as we try to do something we haven't done before in North Grenville. So appreciate everyone's time and contributions. I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Excellent. Thank you. And I'd like to call a 5-minute break. It's almost been 2 hours. I know we're hard at work. We still have a ways to go. So I'm going to call 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Lane. And we'll see everyone back. I guess I'll say 7, not 5, just to be realistic about it. See you in 7.
You need to motion that?
Ms. Rumming, do I have to make a motion now?
That is correct, Madam Mayor.
All right. Councillor Wilson, Councillor Strachan, would you like to move and second a recess of 7 minutes?
So there's no further questions. I can
Yes, you're good.
go
Off
watch
you
the
go.
hockey game.
Yeah. Keep us posted. All right. I'm going to call the question on the brief recess. All in favor? Great. Thanks for the reminder, Councillor Wilson. All right.
Anybody get hit with the storm?
It's a good thunder and rain
Oh,
here,
we-
but the sun
we just
seems to
had-
be trying to come out.
Now
we just
it's,
had a doozy. We
now
just
it's
had a doozy.
very bright outside my window,
Yeah.
like really
Well,
bright.
The sun's going down and it looks really strange.
Mhm. Orangey.
Yeah, it's ominous.
Yeah.
It's
Madam
very,
Mayor, I think you're muted. Yeah.
I was just saying, I think we'll call everyone back. We have all of council here. I assume staff colleagues will be with us shortly. So I am just taking a look at the agenda to see where we're at. And I believe now we're moving on to the consent agenda. The recommendation, colleagues, is that the following consent agenda items be approved as presented. The OPP Detachment Board 2024 Annual Report, Integrity Commissioner 2024 Annual Report, waiving of rental fees, a cappella concert, waiving of fees, Let's Catch Up, and local board minutes. I'd like to pull the Integrity Commissioner 2024 Annual Report. I'm not comfortable having that on consent. So I would ask that that be pulled. Is there anything else anyone wishes to remove?
To you, Mayor Peckford, just for clarity, there's a waiving of fees for Let's Catch Up. There's just one word that's wrong in the whole thing. So it's not a major thing. It's just a point of order.
Okay. So Ms. Remming, should Ms. Wilson want to follow up with you directly to correct a grammatical error in the report? She can do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Is that all you need, Councillor Wilson? Okay, perfect. So with that, is there any other comment on the proposed consent agenda with, of course, the removal of the Integrity Commission report? Not seeing any, so we'll look for a mover and a seconder then for the adoption of an amended consent agenda. Councillor Sullivan, Deputy Mayor, thank you. And I'll call the vote. All in favor? Good, that carries. Thank you very much. So with that, I believe we're now at the Integrity Commissioner 2024 Annual Report. Of course, this is the standard report provided annually in regards to Integrity Commissioner services. Ms. Remming, is there anything you would like to say about the report at this time?
So I can just provide a quick overview. So as we know, the Integrity Commissioner submits this annually. It provides an overview of the amount of complaints received as well as the amount of investigations. You will note in the overview of the report, in the report from Mr. Fleming, that we did receive only one investigation, but there was a handful of complaints this year. They did not reach the investigation point. Mr. Fleming also highlights for council that there is contemplation of a province-wide code of conduct, which will apply to all municipalities. So he did flag that for your information and consideration. Otherwise, I don't have anything to add with respect to the Integrity Commissioner's report.
Thank you. And I'll just look to council colleagues. Any questions, colleagues? My only question, Ms. Remming, just for anyone watching, it is the Integrity Commissioner who would determine whether or not an investigation is warranted. That's at the exclusive purview of the Integrity Commissioner themselves. Is that correct?
So it's not the explicit purview, but yes, and with respect to complaints themselves, basically the complaints can be regarding the MCIA, so the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, or as well as infractions under the Municipal Code of Conduct that's been adopted by council. So the Integrity Commissioner would review the complaint and determine if in fact an infraction may have occurred, and if there is reason to believe that an infraction may have occurred, then an investigation would open. So that is the reason why there is a difference in numbers between the number of complaints received versus the number of investigations.
And I meant exclusive purview, not explicit purview. So it is obviously up to the Integrity Commissioner to determine whether or not an investigation is warranted. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that was abundantly clear. So thank you for that. Anything else, colleagues? Not seeing any. hands. So then I'll ask for a mover and a seconder that council accept Integrity Commissioner Services Annual Report 2024 is prepared by Tony Fleming of Cunningham Swan Lawyers for information.
I will.
Okay, Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Strakian, thank you. I don't believe there's further comments or questions, so I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Yep.
Oh, I
Yep.
apologize, Deputy
sorry.
Mayor.
Yeah.
I
No,
apologize.
I just wanted to note, and I don't know if the acting clerk can answer, but I note that there were 5 complaints that in 2024 that were submitted to the Integrity Commissioner, and 4 complaints were dismissed. So the cost associated with the complaints is in the report, but that includes investigation of 5 rather than just pursuing 1 complaint. Is that how I read this?
So I understand that the cost in the report is the total accumulative cost of all Integrity Commissioner related items for the purpose of the report. So I believe, like, as you said, the 5 items, so the complaints as well as the investigation.
Okay, so there were 5 complaints and 5 investigations, of which 4.
There wasn't 5 investigations, so I do believe we had 1 investigation, and I don't recall, because I don't have the report in front of me, I do believe that it was 4 complaints received in total by the office, although I stand corrected, it could be 5.
Yes.
And Ms. Remen, it says 5 complaints submitted to the Integrity Commissioner for the municipality of North Grenville in 2024. There was 1 report submitted to council. The remaining 4 complaints were dismissed.
There we go. That's what I'm mixing it up with. So 5 in total. So that would be the cumulative cost of all 5 complaints. That's inclusive of the single investigation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anything else before I call the vote, colleagues? Not seeing any hands. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Great. That carries. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on, and we're going down, I believe, to reports and tender awards, capital roads. Do I have that right, Ms. Reming? And I think we have Mr. Finley here to address those. Thank you. Mr. Finley, fire away.
Perfect. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we are looking to move forward with a number of capital road projects that were approved in the 2025 budget. We did tender these shortly after budget approval, and all items are within the overall capital budget for our capital roads. So I'll give a brief breakdown of the recommendations that we're making. The first is for crushed rock to be awarded to GIP Paving Inc. in the amount of $435,875, excluding tax. That is for our 2 gravel rebuilds that we are planning this year for Edward Scott Road and Slater Road. And it's approximately 5.14 kilometers of roadway. The second item that we're looking at is our surface treatment, recommended being awarded to Greenwood Paving Pembroke Limited in the amount of $348,276.60, excluding taxes. Again, that is for the surface treatment of the 3 roads that we did our gravel rebuilds on last year. That's Hess Road, Norton Road, and 0.5 kilometer of Town Line Road, as well as looking at the roadway through the Ferguson Forest Center from the roundabout that's being created on County Road 43 to the dog parks. There's a piece of Anniversary Way, Veterans Way, and Honored Way, and it's a total of 5.89 approximately kilometers of roadway. The third recommendation that we are presenting to council is for our resurfacing, which is our pavement overlays to Blair Asphalt Products Limited, and that's for $348,895, excluding tax. And that includes a number of roadways. Berg Crescent, we did Merrick Trail last year, so that'll top off that area. Concession Road and Somerville Road, as well as including the third phase of Stonewalk Road, so to finish off that part of that assumption process. And then finally, the fourth recommendation that we are moving forward with is to partner with our neighboring municipality, the Township of North Dundas, for 50% cost share of Boundary Road. And that is approximately from County Road 43 to the tracks that are there, or Ronson Road, the Township of North Dundas side. It's approximately 4.3 kilometers of roadway. And the reason why this one's being done as an improvement of a cost share is that North Dundas will be taking the project management lead, and we'll be paying our 50% share as it is a boundary road. The successful contractor that they are using is Cornwall Gravel. And they are a company that we are actually, in the next report, you'll see we're recommending for our maintenance gravel. So that is the conclusion of my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. I do have a question. I don't see any hands, so please, colleagues, raise your hands. The paving of the roads within the Ferguson Forest, you said Anniversary and Honor Way, is that correct? Up to the dog park? Is it a paving or a resurfacing?
Hard surfacing. So it's not an asphalt, it's a surface treatment.
Okay, and that would certainly replace the existing gravel roads, correct? That would, right?
Correct. The intent behind that one is that we are, as 43 is being improved in that area, we'll have some hard surfacing there. It also helps with some of our maintenance items, as currently we have to send our grader right through the middle of town to get to that area. It's kind of a road out by itself, and trying to get there early so that we can hit all our other rural areas that are gravel. This would help get our trucks that are in town to do this maintenance, winter maintenance, and moving forward once it's hard surfaced.
I have a concern that some people might see the paving of these gravel roads in Ferguson Forest as going beyond the current aesthetic, which is obviously more rural and more perhaps less developed, if you will. So I hear your rationale, and it's I think helpful to understand why you'd move to resurface those roads. It's more of a practical consideration than anything else. It doesn't speak to any other matter other than the easiest way to maintain winter access to these roads is to resurface them. Do I have that correct?
That is correct, Madam Mayor.
Okay. All right. So any other questions, colleagues? Not seeing any. So Ms. Remming, how would you like me to move these? Can we move them all in one motion in terms of the tender awards capital?
So you can absolutely pass the motion as presented in the staff report that's attached to the council resolution. However, if council so chooses, you can also separate and move on each individual one separately.
I now understand. I will look to the report. Yes. Okay. I see the report now. So colleagues, the recommendation is that council award tender NG 2507 Crush Rock Quarry Source to GIP Paving Inc. in the amount of $435,875 excluding tax. Award tender NG 2508 Surface Treatment to Greenwood Paving Pembroke Limited in the amount of $348,276 excluding tax. Award tender NG 2509 Resurfacing Asphalt Paving to Blair Asphalt Products Limited in the amount of $348,895 excluding tax, and approve $200,000 for a 50% cost share with the Township of North Dundas to overlay Boundary Road from County Road 43 to Ronson Road. So I'll look for a mover and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Any last questions, colleagues, in regards to these tenders? Councillor Strahan.
Thank you, through Madam Mayor, to Director Finley. I'm just looking through the numbers for each of these, and it's interesting how crushed rock or asphalt can vary significantly in the tonnage prices. So I appreciate that you've gone with the, I guess, lowest cost compliant in that case, in contract speak, I guess. And do you, I guess, not see any challenges, but just have a good sense of where the costs are really different? Is it truly just in how they price their tonnage and not so much in the resources that they have to complete the work or anything like that?
Thank you for the question, and through you, Madam Mayor. Typically, for a lot of this raw material, a lot of it's in the distance away from their quarries or where their operational sources, because it's the trucking costs that usually add to that. So because the different locations of where places are, that does typically plays a lot of the factor in it. Some of it could be a bit of the markup that each contractor is looking for. So we do, again, we are lucky that a number of them have quarries in the area. So that does help with our pricing. But yeah, that does play a big factor in it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I'm just noticing that in some cases it's, $100,000 variation between the lowest and the most expensive as it was costed out here. So, okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, colleagues, I was just experiencing a bit of a battery issue with my computer, so was switching out batteries. Okay, chargers. So we're gonna now with the motion is on the table. Is there any final questions before I call the vote? Not seeing any. All in favor? Okay, thank you. And Ms. Remy, if I can just have one moment to switch my battery. One seems to work. All right, here we go. Okay, that'll save us from losing power. All right. So finally then, we are moving to the operational roads tender, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the second report we have for council to look at tonight is award of our maintenance gravel. So this is maintenance gravel on our current existing gravel roads to keep them in an operational well state. We have started with our grading operations, spring grading operations, and looking forward to half loads coming off here, we believe next week, and move forward with improving these roads. So this was tendered out similar with the other projects. It did close at similar time. We are looking to award this work to Cornwall Gravel Company Limited in the amount of $136,500, excluding applicable taxes. It is within our operational budget. However, being over $50,000, we are coming to council. So that is my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, colleagues? Not seeing any. So then I'll look to the motion that council award tender NG 2504 crushed rock quarry source to Cornwall Gravel Company Limited in the amount of $136,500, excluding applicable taxes. Okay, so mover and seconder, please. All right, Councillor Wilson, Councillor Strackyan, thank you. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to Director Finley. This latest operational road gravel allocation, we're paving more and more of our gravel roads. We're reconstructing them with capital gravel, and this is operational gravel. But we're also creating the new roads that we are creating are generally asphalt because they're in subdivisions. Are we seeing that cost going down gradually as we pave more roads, or are prices inflating and we're spending the same amount each year, but for less gravel?
Thank you for the question through you, Madam Mayor. We are seeing a bit of that even piece of it. Our tonnage rates are increasing. However, the amount of kilometers of gravel road we have are decreasing, hopefully roughly around 5 kilometers a year. So we are seeing that bit of a balance. It seems to be working out. We haven't significantly increased our gravel maintenance line item in a few years now, and we still seem to be coming within budget, although the rates have increased every year. So yes, we think we are kind of finding that little bit of a balance right now, decreasing the amount of tonnage that we're putting on, but the rates are increasing.
Okay, Councillor Sullivan.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to Director Finley. When you are paving for the first time some of our previously gravel roads, or repaving or rebuilding the already existing paved roads, are you widening them so that there is like a paved shoulder per se for cycling as a better connection between the hamlets, for example, on a municipal road?
So thank you for the question, and through you, Madam Mayor. It depends on the road and the work we're doing. Yes, when we do actually do our gravel rebuilds, we do try and push out the road to a 7-meter or larger if we can get it roadway. That way, when we do hard surface, it is a wider road. some of our, typically our overlays, because it is purely just an overlay on the existing asphalt, they don't get wider. Or if we do a full road replacement, rip out the old asphalt and put new asphalt in, yes, we do look to extend that onto the shoulders as well, or pave longer into the shoulders. So most of them, as if we're redoing the entire road, yes, we are looking to do the shoulders.
Oh, thank you. That's good to hear, because I think all of us hear regular complaints about people trying to walk or cycle along the side of a municipal road, and that it's with increased traffic and truck traffic, etc. It's risky. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I will just add in again, just like one quick caveat of where it's possible. If the road is too narrow and we can't build it out, we don't, but where we can accommodate it, yes, we are looking at that.
Thank you very much. That's good news. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, unfortunately, I'm having some laptop power challenges. So I've just had to switch to my phone. So thank you for your patience. I actually don't see any other hands. Are there other hands? Okay, so then I think we've moved the motion, so I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Okay, great. Thank you. So I believe, and now we're moving on to our last report, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Reming, and that's in regards to the Comfort Inn.
That is correct.
And I believe, Ms. Martin, you have an update for us. I know a report has been submitted and there have been some developments subsequent to that submission. So we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Your Worship. So staff received a request from the developers of the Comfort Inn to reduce the development charges and building permit fees associated with their development, which is proposed to be at 320 Ryanswell. The legal opinion that staff received within the last 24 hours identified that the municipality does not have the authority as per Section 106 of the Municipal Act to reduce those fees outside of a formal program, typically like a community improvement plan. But Section 27 of our Development Charges Act does permit municipalities to enter into deferral agreements as it relates to development charges. So at this time, the municipality could consider deferring the fees for a period of time as to be negotiated with the developer to help move their project forward. The Building Act doesn't specifically prohibit the deferral of fees, but a separate agreement would also be required at the discretion of the chief building official to develop what essentially would be a payment schedule for the building permit fees over a set period of time. So given the information we received today, staff are asking council to provide direction in regards to negotiating a deferral agreement under Section 27 of the Development Charges Act to establish a deferral for the development charges, and then further give direction to the chief building official as well to look at deferring, whether it's through a conditional permit or another type of agreement, the building permit fees for a set period of time. So the deferral does not consider that it is a waiver of fees. The full fees would be due. However, it provides for that additional time that the building permit fees could be paid under the provision of the Building Act and the development charges under the provision of the Development Charges Act. I'm happy to take any questions from members of council in regard to this matter. Thank you.
Council colleagues? Okay, I don't see any hands. Certainly, my understanding is that another mechanism at our disposal is a potential community improvement plan. I know, having spoken to the Mayor of Prescott multiple times, who's recently just had a grand opening for a hotel under the same brand family, if you will, that certainly a CIP can also be a mechanism that many municipalities obviously use. We have one for the downtown area, but it's possible to have one, as I understand it, Ms. Martin, that can be crafted to respond to some other economic development interests in the community. So I understand that is likely something the municipality would pursue, not just for this development, but for other developments where we know we have obviously a lot of residential growth. Our commercial growth is a little bit different in terms of the amount of growth, and the kind of commercial enterprises we're attracting. So I think a CIP that looked more specifically at some of our commercial interests that the community really cares about would also be quite valuable. Deputy Mayor, any comments from you?
Yes, thank you through you, Madam Mayor, to the Director of Planning. This proposed hotel has come before council before with the site plan, as I recall, a year and a half or 2 years ago. And at that time, there was some discussion that council had about construction of a sidewalk and covered bike rack. I wondered if that those two desires by council have been part of the conversation with the developer recently.
Certainly. So those are two items that we continue to have discussions over with the developer. There are concerns over the covered bike rack and just the expectation of the municipality for what that may look like. And we're in discussions with the developer in regards to what that pedestrian connectivity looks like as it relates to along Ryan's Well into the existing Colonnade Mall. Those would be details that we hope are resolved quite quickly as we have provided direction to their engineer as to what the municipality's preference is. So those are items that we negotiate through the site plan process to ensure that that they are considered. And their traffic study did identify the need for that pedestrian connectivity. So working with them to figure out what that looks like and what form it takes, we're hopeful that we'll have resolution soon.
Great. Good to hear that it's still on the table. Thank you.
I understand, Deputy Mayor, that the builders, investors of the proposed Comfort Inn are eager to come to North Grenville and potentially begin their work, having just wrapped up the Quality Inn in Prescott. So I think there's a lot of enthusiasm to certainly leverage the opportunity they have here in North Grenville, and they own land in the Colonnade area, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Martin. So a lot of heavy lifting has been done already, and I think we're hopeful they are able to move forward with the project. I'm going to recognize Councillor Wilson and then Councillor Sullivan. And I'm just going to turn off my camera for a sec to see if I can transition back to my laptop. Thanks. Go ahead, Councillor Sullivan.
Wilson or Sullivan?
Councillor O'Sullivan, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you said.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, sorry. I wanted to confirm with what Deputy Mayor Barclay mentioned about there's definitely a desire that this hotel would be deemed bicycle friendly in terms of future tourism and being part of a cycling network in Eastern Ontario. So I think that whether or not they put a covered bicycle corral outside or whether they have a dedicated storage room inside, I think it was definitely something that was a big wish of active transportation at the time when we first discussed this, as well as the council. So, and connection down to get to the rail trail or to the have a walkable that they could get to guests and staff getting to work there could be able to get there cycling or walking safely.
Certainly think that's been duly noted by staff, so appreciate you emphasizing that again. I'm going to go to Councillor Strakian and then Councillor Wilson, please. Sorry, I mixed up the order again. See, I'm not that good at this. Councillor Wilson and then Councillor Strakian. I apologize.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Peckford, to, I'm not sure who this question would actually go to. I'm just trying to create a scenario here that if there was a similar hotel being built or proposed in the downtown core, is the downtown core DC charges exempt for something like this, or is it only pertain to residential? So and I'm not trying to stir up anything. I just have that question.
Sure. Ms. Martin, can you speak to that?
Certainly, Your Worship. So through you, Your Worship, to Councillor Wilson, we do have an exemption in the downtown area as per the development charges bylaw. That was extended until it's reconsidered as part of the new development charges background study and the new development charges bylaw, which is coming later this year. So currently, if someone were to apply tomorrow and were within that footprint of that exemption, they would not have to pay development charges.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go Councillor Wilson. That resolves your question. Okay, I'll go on to Councillor Strahan. Go ahead, Councillor Strahan.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And I think back to you with this comment. I think just so that we don't conflate too many issues here, we're not discussing another CIP this evening that you mentioned in your preamble. I think that it's a whole other discussion unto itself. CIPs are a bit fraught for some in the community to understand exactly how those funds are best spent. Understanding why we have the development charges waived for the footprint in the downtown core and not elsewhere. Different reasons for that, obviously, but these are big businesses that aren't likely to lose money, and we know we don't have any big hotels in our area, so I think it would be challenging to fund it with taxpayer money. So I'm happy to see that there's a deferral proposal on the recommendation on the table.
Certainly, and to be abundantly clear, absolutely, there's no discussion about a CIP tonight. It is a mechanism that I have been advised other communities have used, particularly ones not that far from us, to facilitate the establishment of a hotel. But you are absolutely right. That's not something that's under active consideration this evening, but a mechanism that could be considered, and it would definitely come back to council, so for discernment and debate. So to your point, and Ms. Martin or Ms. Remming, I don't know if you're able to put the language or repeat the language in terms of the direction you're seeking this evening.
I do have it in front of me, Madam Mayor, if you would like me to read it aloud.
I would.
Absolutely. Okay, so I have, be it resolved that council directs staff to negotiate a deferral agreement related to the building permit fees in consultation with the chief building official and development charges in accordance with section 27 of the Development Charges Act 1997 for the proposed hotel at 320 Ryan's Well.
And can you read that one more time, Ms. Remming?
Certainly. That council directs staff to negotiate a deferral agreement related to the building permit fees in consultation with the chief building official and development charges in accordance with section 27 of the Development Charges Act 1997 for the proposed hotel at 320 Ryan's Well.
Okay, great. And as I understand it, that motion contemplates DCs and building fees, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, excellent. Okay, great. So with that, I'll look to a mover and a seconder, please. Thank you. I'm just going to choose Councillor Strahan and Deputy Mayor because they're at the top of my screen. So any comments or questions? I'm not seeing any.
Yeah, sorry, I'm very slow to take my, oh, I should have raised my hand.
Okay, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I've forgotten all my virtual meeting chops. Yeah, I just wanted, by way of comment, to thank the developer for contemplating investment in a hotel. I think we're well overdue for a hotel, so it bodes well for future occupancy and their occupancy rate. There's all kinds of reasons why people would want to stay overnight, whether it's for entertainment or sporting events. So I just wanted to say thank you for finally moving forward with this project, and hopefully we can come to some agreement pretty soon and see some shovels in the ground. So thank you.
I know Ms. Martin and her team has been back and forth quite a bit, and I also had the opportunity to meet the team with Ms. Martin and our CEO, Mr. Gilmer. So I know there's a lot of enthusiasm and energy to certainly start the work in North Grenville. Of course, you'll recall that I think we approved a site plan just before the pandemic. or just around the time of the pandemic in 2020. So long time coming, and hopefully the next step will be taken sooner rather than later. This is a community that likes to talk about hotels, so I know it would be very well embraced as you suggested. So the motion is on the table. Are there any final comments? Not seeing any. I will call the vote. All in favor? Great. And Deputy Mayor, if you don't mind, owing to my technological challenges here, I'm just going to ask you to take over as chair, and I'll just turn off my camera. It's been a little bit challenging to do this from my phone. For some reason, my laptop has lost all power and is not recharging. So I'm just going to turn off my camera and leave it up to you to close out the agenda for this evening. I'll stay online.
Okay, thank you. I'm happy to do that. That was the final report, as I understand it, because we dealt with the Curry Park Accessible Dock earlier. Next, we have correspondence, and all those were captured under our consent agenda. So finally, motions. Are there any notice of motions, council colleagues? Seeing none, then we move on to a period for questions from the media and the public. Do we have any members of the media or the public?
Mr. Chair, we do not have any members of the media or public online.
And did you receive any questions prior to the meeting tonight?
I did not receive any questions as part of this evening's meeting.
Or phone calls with questions?
No phone calls either.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we move on to the confirmation bylaw. Be it resolved that bylaw 40-25 to confirm the proceedings of council at its regular meeting held on April 29th, 2025 be adopted and passed. Looking for a mover for that motion. Thank you, Councillor O'Sullivan, and seconded by Councillor Wilson. Any discussion on that? I don't think so. So all in favor, I'm calling the vote. All in favor? Thank you. Next, we move on to adjournment, and be it resolved that this regular meeting of council adjourn at 8:31. Is that what I've got? 31. Yeah, close enough. PM. So I'm looking for a mover. Thank you, Councillor Stracher-Yan, seconded by Councillor Wilson. There's no discussion on that motion, and I'll look for someone to, I'll call the vote. That's what I'm looking for. The phraseology, call the vote. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, Mary, for assisting me at the beginning and at the end.
Absolutely. And thank you all. You have a wonderful evening.
Okay.